see if he's ready to go.
All right.
Right, he's online, which is always a good sign.
Excellent.
Hi, Rick. You okay?
Yes, how's it going?
I'm very well, thank you. We appreciate you coming back and try this again after last week.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, it seems a lot better now, anyway. So just so you know, you're on with myself, Ray, and obviously I'm with Patrick. So we'll get kick straight into where we were last week. We were just in the process of asking you. I was asking you about the Olympics, what it was like representing obviously your country, and then making the transition from the Olympic judo obviously to mixed martial arts.
Yep.
So yeah, would you? So what was it? What was it like? Obviously, representing the United States in the Olympics.
Well, it was a great honor to be able to make the team and to compete in Athens in 2004. Only about 500 Americans in every sport represent the U.S. and head over there. So it was a great honor. Just a very exciting time to be competing and to be at that on that world stage was pretty incredible. So it's really nothing like it. I was very fortunate, very happy to be a part of that. And the transition into MMA was, fairly easy. I've been training hard my entire life, been a professional athlete, and the crossover, was fairly simple. Pretty much the same kind of game plan, same kind of training regimen that I did in judo that I still do in MMA. The only hard part, obviously, was the striking and learning that. But it's coming along. It's been a few years now, and I'm getting better every day.
What made you want to get involved with MMA? Because obviously it is so. Obviously, judo is a part of martial arts, but this is so different when you mix all the things together. So, what made you want to get involved with mixed martial arts?
I've always wanted to try it. Growing up, when I was younger, watching the early UFC days and Hoist Gracie, and he did a lot of similar moves that we did in judo. The arm locks, submissions, and stuff. So, during my judo career, I always was a fan of mixed martial arts, and I always thought one day after my career was done in judo that, if I was still healthy enough that I could make the transition over and give it a try. And, it's been great so far. I've had pretty good success.
Yeah, I mean, to say you've had pretty good success, I think it's an understatement. I mean, you went 8-0, and then obviously you were picked up by Bellator. So talk us through that. How did that come about? How did Bellator get in touch?
Well, we're kind of actually trying to at that point, when I was 8-0 to get into the UFC. I had just TKO'd or KO'd um, Shoney Carter. So he was a big name guy, been around for a while. So I had a pretty good record, and I figured that might be able to get me in the UFC. But it was tough because welterweight's such a deep division that that wasn't really enough to get me in. So Bellator came in and they said they would pick me up, and at that time it was I think the right thing to do, especially financially, to get into the tournament. $100,000 to win the tournament. So I signed with them in a couple years ago, and had a pretty good run the first year in the tournament, and was able to complete it this year and finally win it.
Yeah, you're right in saying you started at welterweight. You've now obviously dropped down to lightweight and won the lightweight tournament. So you're obviously next in line to face Michael Chandler. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. We're still trying to figure out a date on that. I think it's going to be either in December or January. Um,
And you were saying that you think it's going to be on Spike as well. Is that right?
yeah, that's what we're trying to do. The Spike TV deal starts in January, and I think it'll be beneficial for all parties for us for the fight to be in on Spike TV. Just because of the viewership that it would have, and it's a big name fight. We got two of the best fighters in Bellator, two of the best lightweights in the world. So, what better way to kick off the Spike TV deal than to put our fight, I think, on and kind of maximize our exposure and kind of really put Bellator on the map with their new TV deal.
I think it's fantastic. How excited are you to get the opportunity to fight on Spike, just to get yourself that more exposure?
Oh, very excited. MTV was one thing. It was a good start, but they just don't have the same kind of viewership or the demographic that Spike TV does. They already had UFC fights on Spike, so they're familiar with MMA. So I think it's definitely going to bring a new fan base and a lot more people to the Bellator, I guess, group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bellator is so exciting as well. There's been some fantastic fights and fighters, obviously, or currently in Bellator, and some great fights that we've seen in Bellator. I mean, even in the early days, you had some of the crazy submissions that were happening. I remember there being like an inverted triangle choke from standing. So, I mean, all of this happened before Bellator obviously has gone as mainstream as what it is now. But it's great to see, Bellator growing. And overlooking your career, obviously, you've got 14 victories. Have you got say before you joined Bellator? Have you got a victory that stood out to you before you joined Bellator?
Um, the Shoney Carter fight was, probably up to my at that point one of my biggest fights, just because of his experience. He's been around a long time, beat some good guys. So up to that point, that was probably the highlight of my career.
And what about a favourite victory within Bellator? Because you've obviously you've beat some really big names in Bellator.
Yeah, definitely. They're all big name guys. All guys I wasn't really expected to beat, and then I think the one that really stands out the most is probably my last one, just because of the implications that I had, to win the tournament. So, and also Brent Weedman's a very tough guy. He's been around a long time and fought great guys. So, I think that was probably my best fight in Bellator so far, my most favorite.
And just to talk a little bit about you away from the actual fighting, but who are some of the people you're training with, and what camp are you training with at the moment?
Well, right now I'm living in the Boston area, so I travel to Hensel Gracie, New Hampshire. That's where I do my jujitsu and a little bit of MMA. I go down to the Hensel Gracie Academy in New York City as often as I can for obviously jujitsu training and MMA. Um, and then, especially since the fight's so far off right now, I'll go up to TriStar in Montreal, and that's my main training camp, and I'll prepare up there for the fight. And in the next few months, I'll get up there, every for a week or two at a time, and start preparing.
I know you're on about the layoff. Obviously, the layoff being you fought in May and you're looking to hold out until you can get to fight on Spike. Is that the only reason you're holding off? You're not carrying any injuries or anything like that?
No, I'm super healthy. I just obviously, we're both fighters, me and Chandler, and we like to fight, but at the end of the day, it's a job. If we can maximize the amount of money that we make doing our job, then I think that's better for everyone. So, no injuries. I think he kind of wants to fight a little bit sooner than January, just because he hasn't fought much. But at the end of the day, I think it's financially it's better for both of us to wait till January.
Yeah, I just think getting on. Obviously, the more exposure you get, it's better for everything with it being sponsorship and everything. So it just makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I know Patrick's eager to jump in, so I'll introduce you or pass you over to Patrick. So you got any questions, Patrick?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. How are you doing this evening, Rick?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you.
Good, good. I'm real glad to talk to you today. I've been a big fan of yours ever since Bellator was on the Fox Sports channel of networks, and it seems like you've been in Bellator for about 2 years now. And in that time, the promotion has grown a lot, it seems like. What's the atmosphere like in Bellator right now as a promotion?
Yeah, definitely. They've grown in the last couple of years. You know, Coming from the regular, I think Fox stations to MTV2 was a big jump, and then now going into Spike TV, I think everyone's very excited to be part of that. I know that we're doing a big photo shoot next week down in Orlando, so it's kind of the Spike TV deal is kind of putting some money into that, and it's really gonna really kind of putting getting all behind the scenes footage and stuff done for the Spike TV deal. So it's really exciting time, and for all the fighters and Bellator, I think it's going to be big things.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Lately with yourself and Ronda Rousey and a couple other fighters, representing the art of judo and mixed martial arts and having good success. Do you think more people will look at judo as a critical component of a mixed martial artist skill set?
I think so. I think it's for really good martial artists who've kind of seen a little bit of everything, they kind of take a little bit of everything. Even wrestlers, high level wrestlers, you'll see them do some judo throws and now and again, and so it's not really hasn't really been on the map per se as opposed to like wrestling in these other sports. But with Ronda's success, my success, and several other fighters that are with judo backgrounds, Carla Masu's and Bellator, Hector Lombard, of course. So it's definitely getting put on the map, and I definitely foresee more people getting into it and kind of maybe cross training to add to their game.
Excellent. You and Ray talked a little bit about you started at welterweight at the beginning of your career. Now you're at lightweight. I know you had to change your diet a little bit to start making 155. Did you change your training up at all as well?
No, I didn't really change my training at all. Just it was pretty much all diet. I never really thought when I fought welterweight that I could make lightweight, but I have a great nutritionist, George Lockhart, and he put together some great diets and some programs for me, and pretty much it's just all the same training, just hitting it hard, but just with less food, of course. So it kind of sucks.
I hear that. Well, now let's say you just made the cut, you just had weigh-in day. What is your favorite post weigh-in meal?
Water.
Sure,
Now,
sure. Got to rehydrate.
yeah, I have a lot of specific stuff I have to eat right now because of my weight cut to make me feel not to get too bloated and stuff. So he has me just have me kind of small portions and stuff to kind of get my body adjusted to the cut and stuff. So my favorite thing would be a pizza, of course, but I really can't eat that right after weigh-ins.
Oh, sure. That's got to be hard in the middle of the Bellator tournament as well, having to keep cutting.
Yeah. This time it was really tough. My second cut when I fought Lloyd Woodard was the hardest one, and I really struggled for that one. But I'm getting the hang of it now. I have 3 cuts in 2 months, so the next one should be a lot easier now that I'm kind of figuring my body out and the way it reacts.
Yeah, there you go. Now you and Ray were also talking a little bit about Michael Chandler. He's you're set up to fight him soon. He's a current Bellator lightweight champion. He's a well-rounded opponent. He's got good boxing, good wrestling. Do you think he's going to try and test your stand-up, or do you think he's going to try and take it to the mat early?
I think he's a very confident fighter. I don't think he's very scared to just stand with me. We saw the fight with him and Alvarez has great stand up, and he stood up with Alvarez and ended up catching him, with a lot of shots. So I don't think he's going to be afraid of my stand up. He probably should be, but that's fine. I welcome him to the stand up game, and but I expect this fight to go everywhere on the ground, standing, in the clinch. So it's going to be very exciting. I think we both have very similar skills, and it's going to be, we're going to counter each other in certain areas. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think that's a fight a lot of the fans are looking forward to, especially people who follow Bellator know that you guys are probably the 2 highest ranked guys in the whole organization, I would say. Now, your only loss, it's a controversial split decision to Jay Heron. I don't want to talk about it too much. I thought you won the fight. Most people I've talked to think you won the fight. If the judges had scored that fight in your favor, would you still be at 170?
That's a good question. I didn't really drop down because I lost. I switched training camps after that loss. I moved up to TriStar, and Faraz Zahabi, head coach, suggested that it would be a good idea for me to drop down to lightweight just because my body size. I'm giving up a lot of size for welterweight. And that was the only reason why I dropped down was because of, I'm starting to get a little bit too small. The guys are getting bigger at welterweight, taller, cutting more weight. So, but I think I probably still would have dropped down even with a win over Huron.
Okay. One last question before I let you go. Just a little aside. During the Olympic Games, it was reported that Olympic athletes in the United States are taxed on their medal earnings. As a former Olympian yourself, do you think medal earnings should be taxed like any other income?
Uh, I don't think so. It's something that is pretty rare for an athlete to get. It's every 4 years. It's there's not a lot of medals that the athletes are getting, so I wouldn't see what the harm is in letting that go a little bit. They've worked their entire life to achieve that and to get that medal, and it means so much. And they don't in a lot of sports, even judo, they don't make a lot of money with their medal earnings. So it's at the end of the day, it's just kind of it's just a little bit of extra stuff that the athletes could probably use after spending so much money to make it to the Olympics and to get that medal.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Right, I just want to. I'll take over from here. I just want to say, Rick, we really appreciate you coming back on. We were gutted last week when it didn't work out, and we were so pleased that you were willing to come back on again. So we appreciate your time last week and this week. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to shout out to? Any friends, family, sponsors you'd like to, just say hello to, basically?
Yeah, appreciate having me on again, guys. No problem. Just like to thank my main sponsors, Fuji Sports, Zebra Mats, uh, and my training teams. Hensel Gracie, New Hampshire, Hensel Gracie Academy, and TriStar Gym. So I appreciate it, everything from all you guys.
Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show. Like I said, we were really pleased to get you on, and we'll look forward to seeing you fight, hopefully in the new year, so you can get on Spike, and hopefully we can get you back on again in the future as well.
Yeah, man. Anytime. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Rick Hawn.